When I come up to the house, there was a commotion going on here on the road there from our house, and a neighbor pulled up and said that someone had just broke into another neighbor's house and they come in on him, and he fled down the road. Hey guys, welcome back to STA Farms. So what we got going on today is we're going to be doing some bush hogging. Brandon's going to be on the tractor bush hogging, and I'm going to be putting up some electric fence. If you followed our channel for a while now, you know that we do somewhat of a rotational graze with our cattle. So no more cows than what we have. We only have two cows and a bull, and then 2 calves. They just can't keep up with the amount of pasture that we have. So we will fence off a section of pasture at a time. Usually throughout the year we have about 3 sections. This year we might make it into 4 sections. We'll just kind of see how it goes. But anyways, what we do is we bush hog it, we fence it off, and then we give it to them. And then whenever they have all that picked, we move into another section. And that just keeps us from having to bush hog basically once a month. Because with Hereford cattle, we love Herefords, but one thing they are prone to get is pink eye. And the best defense against pink eye we have found for us is to keep your pastures clipped where the grass, especially the seeds, doesn't irritate their eyes. And that's not saying we won't have cases of pink eye, but if we do that, it drastically reduces the amount of pink eye that we have. So that's what we try to do, and that's our main reason for doing it. We would eventually like to get into a full rotational graze, but we're not at that point right now. Okay, so what I'm going to do now with this bush hog is I'm going to check the oil level. This bush hog's got gearboxes right here, and then another one right there, and you just want to make sure you got plenty oil in there. So I'll check the oil, then we'll get her greased up, then we'll get it down to the pasture and get it set, and we'll be ready to bush hog. Okay guys, on this bush hog here, we've had this bush hog for several years and we love it, but it is kind of a pain to check the oil level, and the reason being is this is likely not going to show up on camera, but if Brandy will kind of get as close to here to where my finger is, it's covered in oil. But that's a very small plug. It takes like a 3/8 size wrench to open that. And you open that and you want your oil level at the very bottom of that. Over the years, I've wore that plug so much that what I do, I just take off the top plug here, the fill plug, and then I take my pinky and I go in here and I do it like that. And if it comes out with oil on it, then I know I'm good. Because the way, I don't know how it's going to show up, but basically from the curve of my pinky down in there, it's about the top of that oil plug. So when I do that, it comes out, oil on the tip, then I know I'm good. Okay guys, so we're down here at the pasture, and first thing I got to do is I got to set the height of my bush hog. Now how you set it, it's got these spacers right here, and this time of year whenever we bush hog, we don't want to cut it very low. We just basically want to cut it to about the top of the blades, and that gets right here some orchard grass, but you don't want the cows, they won't eat this. This is good, would make good hay, but they won't eat this. They'd like the blades, so we want to cut it about there, just so whenever they're picking, it won't irritate their eyes. You don't want the blades or especially these little seeds here getting in their eyes or irritating their eyes. So just based on experience with this tractor here, it's usually, these are different thicknesses, but it's usually one of these thick ones here. And then what I do, I just take it, I put it right there so we don't lose it, and that height should be pretty good. But just to make sure, I'm going to lower it and take off a little bit, mow a little bit, and then I'll recheck it. Okay guys, so I have it laid off. I have our pasture here laid off where Brandy's going to be bush hogging. So she's going to hop on the tractor and bush hog, and I'm going to start back here in the back with her fence and run our fence over to our pond. Now our plan is, and you'll see when we get back there, our plan is to fence the cattle out of the pond. Our cows love to stand in the pond. It's not the best to let them do that, but they love it when it gets warm and hot. but we just put fish in our pond last fall. So we want to keep them out there so the fish can spawn and all that. So we're going to get working on that, and y'all hang with us. Okay guys, so I have gotten started on the fence here, and I just realized I forgot my T-post driver up to the house. So I need to run up to the house and get the T-post driver, and I also need to get a few more posts. I'm not going to have enough to put this fence up, so I'm going to get that, and then we'll come back and keep on working. So I am obviously not in the pasture putting up fence right now. So what had happened is I needed to run up to the house. I forgot my T-post driver, and I need to get some more fence posts. And when I come up to the house, there was a commotion going on here on the road there from our house. And a neighbor pulled up and said that someone had just broke into another neighbor's house, and they come in on him, and he fled down the road. So yeah, so that kind of threw a wrench in our plans, because whenever you live in a rural community, you know your neighbors, you're pretty tight knit, and you kind of look out for one another, and that's what we do. So I have gotten the stuff I need for the fence. Then I went down to the pasture to tell Brandy what was going on, and we see the guy. I see the guy. Now Brandy don't, keep in mind, Brandy don't have any idea what's going on. And so as I'm driving back there through the field there, I see him on the road, and he's on one side of the road. He looks back, he crosses the road, and he goes down into the woods, which is very odd, because there's nothing down there. That's our neighbor's property there, and there's nothing down there. So I thought, okay, well, maybe he just seen something. He's going to come back out, but he never did. And then about that time, the neighbor that lives across the road from where we was at the time, that owns that property, he come home. And I was talking to him about it, and he's the one that told me that that's the same guy that they think broke into the neighbor's house up here, up the road. So anyways, so I let Brandy know what's going on, and she's still down there bush hogging, and I've come back up to the house here just to kind of make sure everything's locked up and keep an eye on things for a little bit. And we're still going to try to get this video done, but it's not going to have the shots and the stuff like that we had planned on doing. We plan on doing it together, but anyways, unfortunately that's the world we live in today. So but we'll see what we can get done and get it finished up, so, and then kind of go from there. Okay guys, so I'm back down here at the pasture now. Brandy's got through bush hogging. She's up at the house keeping an eye on things. So I've got a little bit of the section run. I don't know how much going to show up on camera. But I got to drive that T-post there in, and then head on down the line. So we'll see what we can get done. Now, guys, with the ground the way it is, I can just push these posts in like that. But when it gets into summer, You won't be able to. That's why we like these step-in posts so well. The problem with the step-in posts is after a couple years out in the sun, they just get brittle and break. We need to get some more, and I plan on getting some more. Okay guys, so as you can see, we have our fence run through our pond. So we've got it cut off here. This will give them plenty of water to drink, and we will monitor it. If it turns off really dry, we might have to either push this back, or probably more than likely what we do, we just run water in our water tanks. So, but we got this done. We've got the fence run. So now we just got to tie everything together and test it, make sure we're getting our 5 popping lights hopefully, and that'll have this done. Yeah, we're getting 5. Yeah. Okay guys, so that's got this fence done. We've got our first section of our pasture fenced off and bush hogged for our cattle. As you've seen, Brandy got it bush hogged, I got the fence, and then me and her both done across the pond. So I don't know if it's going to show up on video, but we are getting 5 lights on our fence tester for this fence, which is the highest that it will test. Once they start getting this picked down to where there's not much grass left, they'll be able to keep up with it and it won't grow up where we have to constantly bush hog it. Then we'll open up another section, then do the same thing with that, then open up another section, and so on until we have all of our pasture opened up. Okay, so I'm sure you're wondering what the update is with the thief that we found this morning whenever we was back here working. So the update is there is no more. So he went down in the woods. See, the way our property is we have quite a bit of road frontage, and from where our house is to where we's actually working is a fairly good distance. And that's where we last seen him. He was on our side of the road looking back, and I'm assuming what he had in mind is cutting over into our field because it's open and backtracking up to wherever he'd parked his car or whatever he come around here in. But that's the last we've seen of him. I don't know. The police, I'm sure are still looking for him. We don't know who he is or anything like that, but there's not really anything anymore to say right at this time. So if we get any more information on him or anything like that, we'll be sure to update you guys. But thankfully, he wasn't able to take anything, at least from our property. I don't think he got anything from the neighbor's house. I think the other neighbors come there, but right before he was breaking in. But thankfully we was down here, he's seen us, and then that deterred him to go into the woods where there's really nothing. So, but that's the update and the status of that as of right now. So guys, listen, we really appreciate y'all hanging out with us today as we got all this stuff done. If you haven't already, be sure you hit that like button and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks guys.